name, but do you really know why he came for your games up? I think you better find out. Take a pause for the calls while you playing. Call a timeout. Or you ought to check in with the coaching staff. Running plays and don't know the half. Seeming like you're making up your own meaning, like you playing a game of both of that. Taking common grace. Look at the time you waste. I know you want to see your shining face, but you're separated by time and space. Till Jesus Christ came and climbed in our place and took the cross. Took a loss, tasted death and shook it off. Rose in three, said roll with me like a rotary. Now look at y'all, making noise with crazy joy, like young bucks when they play with toys. Predestined since way back when, man, we go back like lazy boys. But all to him and none to me was sin by sin like 1, 2, 3. He healed me, filled me, saved me, gave me life abundantly. What you know about that?
It would be, it's not just give me a vision, give me a voice. It's God would have to be as much a part of the world as the world is. Because I don't want to have to believe in God. I just want to respond to God. I will respond to whatever is real.
You're responding to me right now. And it
Exactly.
would need to be as real as us, is your point.
Be a part of the reality that I experience. Don't pop up and then disappear like, hey, but believe that it was real. I don't want to believe, I want to respond to you.
Yeah.
Make it so that I have no choice but to respond to you. And I know the Christians say he will one day. Every knee will bow. I'll do whatever I have to do in that moment. I'll respond to the reality that he presents me with.
Yeah.
This is the reality that I have right now, and God's not a part of it.
It seems like a horrible practical joke. If if we were wrong and and they're right, what a practical joke God is playing.
I wasn't going to say this, but now you pulled it out of me. So there's the other part of the Christian would say, even if God were to prove himself to you, your heart is so hard that you wouldn't even want to be with him. And part of me says, I think there's some truth to that from where I am now because of the practical jokeness of it all. If you're the kind of being who would do all of this, hiding yourself, the first Matt Dillahunty video that I watched when my friend told me in January 2022 about Matt Dillahunty, the first video I watched that made me say, I immediately text my friend. I said, yo, I'm a fan already. Matt Dillahunty said the same thing that I said. He said, it's not the problem of evil that does it for me. It's the problem of divine hiddenness. Why is God seemingly so hidden from creatures that he says he wants a relationship with? So then get back to what you said about the practical joke. Even if God were to reveal himself to be real, hey, look, I'm here, but now you're not going to see me. I'm going again. I have such a problem with putting humanity in this predicament such that we have all this confusion about which religion is real. And even in the same religion, what should we believe? So that there's all this division and all this confusion and all this, that if you're the being who your bright idea was this, I don't know that I want to spend eternity with you. I don't know what else you got planned that just might be as chaotic as this.
Good question.
Yeah, I hope people, I know this is hard for some people, but it's only when you exit that you can look back and realize the kind of person you have. Well, maybe not. I don't think only when you exit, maybe even while you're in. Could you look and say, who did you have to become in order for your worldview, your mindset to match all of the various things that the Bible says this is the heart and mind of God? For you to have to take that on, you've got to become so many things that if you were to just kind of look back and say, man, am I really that person? Like when I deconverted, there were people who told me, I'm praying for you, pray that you come back to the faith, da, 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 da. I said, just think about what this means. Those of you who are praying for me. If you're praying for me and God never does soften my heart, draw me back, win me back over, whatever that means you as a fallen, frail human being care more about me than the God who could at any moment draw me and win me back.
Well put.
He knows what he would have to do that. But you're praying for me because you care about my soul. You care about me more than Christianity. Because to be honest, from 2014 to 2021, I became much less vocal. I would not preach. I would teach. I taught at 2 Christian schools. But teaching is fine because when you teach, you can say, hey, there's 4 views on this. These are the views. If you ever asked me to espouse one, that's when I was in trouble. Mm-hmm. So 2014 to 2020, I could not espouse any real views. And so It wasn't until I deconverted that I was able to say, I owe a bunch of people an apology. And so there are some people who look at me now like, why write a book? Why be vocal? Why don't you just go away and be a quiet, are you an atheist? Are you agnostic? Just be a quiet one.
Right.
I'm like, I wasn't a quiet Christian. Why don't we be quiet now? And I feel like I owe it to people. Because I see the gaslighting, because I see the people who know, and this is not to put William Lane Craig on the spot, but when I read his book, I'm like, so basically, this can't be true. I could do a search in my Kindle. I was going to do it because I quote him often in my book, but I didn't do this. I was going to count how many times he used the word plausibly in his book. Because everything he's saying about why we can still believe is, well, plausibly this. Well, this is plausible. Well, this is none of it is anything that you could say definitively. It's just plausible. And I'm like, that's not what we're out on these corners screaming.
Yeah.
That's not what
we have the plausible truth.
right. It's not plausible truth. This is the truth.
Right.
But then when you go to the world-renowned apologists, it's plausibly. I'm like, nah, I can't do this. So I feel like I owed a bunch of people an apology. And even though they don't see it as me doing them this service, I'm doing you a service by telling you, hey, here's how they're lying to you.
But think about a boxer who's unified the belts, right? I've got the IBF or I don't even know what the federations are. I've got all the belts you can have in my weight class. And then imagine you go down a weight class, you get all those belts, and you go up to weight class, you get all those belts. Imagine a boxer with all the belts, just undefeated. I used to talk about God and his omnis that way. All love, all wisdom, all power, all whatever belt you want to attribute to someone, give it to God. He's all the perfections. In the same way that I used to extol God that way, I now look at all the different things I had to do to maintain my faith and say, okay, maybe your God has all those perfections, but defending him, you've got to hold all these L's. You got to hold all these losses, whether it be in logic, whether it be in history, whether it be in science, whether it be in, I'm going to hold all these L's to praise the God who's got all these wins. If I add all those L's up, it does not equal, and this is why I believe it. If I add all these L's up, it equals, why are you believing this again?